Hey, we're back. Austin 101, our state government explained and how to participate. This is Bunny Pounds. I'm the president of Christians Engaged, and we're joined again by our instructor and vice president, Trayce Bradford. So excited to be with you guys again today for class 2. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed class 1. I know we're giving you a lot of information, but just dive deep with us. It's going to be all worth it because it's all going to make sense when you realize that all these little facts lead up to you participating with clarity and motivation and getting things done for our state. So that's what we're here to do, is empower Christians to pray, vote, and engage. That's actually the mission of Christians Engaged, for us to help you build habits of prayer, voting, and engagement for the sake of our state and our nation. So we're here every day online with our podcasts, our videos, our articles. We're coming to churches around Texas and America. We're having conferences and seminars. Connect with us at christiansengaged.org, and you can participate with everything that we're doing. There's so much to do. We're really excited to help you build a tool that will help you empower your friends at Sunday school, your church members, your family and neighbors. We built a pledge, take the pledge. That's our simple slogan, and that helps us and helps you to remember to pray, vote, and engage regularly. So take the pledge online at christiansengaged.org and share that with friends. Text it over to people and say, hey, take the pledge. And Christians Engaged will always remind you to pray for your leaders. They'll always remind you to vote in every election. And let's build habits of doing that, and then also be educated from a biblical perspective. It's not good enough just to do the tasks. We have to be educated on why we're doing it, which is why we built this class, Austin 101, which is a standalone class, but we're also have another class, On Ramp to Political Activism class. It's awesome, about 3.5 hours of training, and you get interactive instruction with us. It's exciting to see people graduate from that and get activated in party politics from every political party, advocacy, issues from a biblical perspective, walking with integrity as a Christian. Lastly, again, if you've been blessed by this class, if you're being blessed by this ministry, consider being a monthly partner with us. Consider helping us with Christians Engaged. We're funded by people and Christians just like you. We need you. We need you as part of our family, and we're so thankful to bring you this class and to bring you all the resources that we do around the state. Thank you so much.
Welcome back, and I'm so glad you're here to Class 2 of Austin 101. Today we're going to talk about how we as Christians can really make an impact on the legislative process. How do we testify for or against a bill? Select your issue, and some of you have already done that and you've been following as you were in the first class. You're going to search your TLO, our Texas Legislature, online for bills on the issue. Check with the groups that champion the issue you were following to see if you suggest a certain piece of legislation, and read the bill. There's no substitution for actually reading the bill. Ask questions from the office of the legislator carrying the bill and other legislators who are working on the bill. Understand the mechanics of the bill. What does it do? What does it not do? Be prepared to answer a few basic questions when you testify, and be ready to say you don't have an answer if you don't have an answer. Don't fake it. You can always tell them, hey, let me get that for you. Free advice. It may be helpful to reach out to someone who has a legal background to help give you clarity on the bill language. Check with interest groups and subject matter experts. Read articles on the issues, and sometimes read a few dissenting views. We'll touch on that more later. Prep your testimony. I'm going to emphasize that again. Prep your testimony. Be prepared to speak for 3 minutes. Keep focused on the bill language and the point of the legislation. Personal stories and anecdotes are great, but they need to stay focused. Check with the committee to know their requirements of presenting charts, data, and documentation. You want to ensure you have plenty to give copies to all the committee members. Here's some free advice. Do not reference other legislation. The committee will call you out for it every time. You are there to discuss the bill before the committee. Here's some pointers for testifying. Greet the committee members and introduce yourself. Clearly state the bill number. State whether you are for or against the bill. Otherwise, they'll stop you and take up more of your time. Speak clearly, like I'm doing, and share your testimony. Don't rush, even though time is limited. 3 minutes is longer than you think. Practice and know your stuff. Be respectful, regardless of the way others may speak to you. If a committee member challenges you, stay calm and respectful. Make sure if you've had a personal testimony that is directly connected to the bill. Don't get into the weeds, get your point across, but don't hit the committee with everything you know about that issue. Ensure your conclusions align with your opening statement. Be simple, honest, straightforward. That is the best kind of testimony. And then if you're questioned, you're on the right track. Thank the committee members again at the end. Some more free advice. Watch your time and keep your greetings short and simple. I've witnessed people use up half their time while making long introductions and talking to the committee. How do you get to know our elected officials and impact them? As we're moving forward now, you just saw we're doing testifying, and that is you being active. This is another one of those active steps. You can look up your official if you don't know who they are. On the Texas Legislature online website, you can go, who represents me? Did you know you're going to have separate state senators and state representatives than your U.S. congressman and your U.S. senator? There's only 2 U.S. senators. Reach out to your legislators. Email them. Sign up for their email newsletters. And understand their official office and campaign lists are 2 separate entities. Write them a card or a note. Call their offices. Request an in-person meeting. Also, you can sign up for other legislators' newsletters. You don't have to live in their district, especially if they are working on legislation you care about. I just tell you now, you need to be flexible because you will literally be running down the hall sometimes with a meeting because it's on the move. If you want those meetings, stay flexible and it'll work out for you. Get to know them. Look for opportunities to volunteer. Internships, usually unpaid in their offices, that's volunteer. Volunteers usually in their district offices are very helpful. Pages in Austin during the legislative session and campaign volunteers, if you agree with their position on the issues. Get to know them. Look for ways to encourage. Send a thank you note when they champion an important issue or a cause. That can be for either, if it's the other side and they do something that's on target, thank them. Send inspirational gifts like a devotional. All these gifts must be $50 and under. Inspire them with scripture, and most importantly, pray for them and their families. We spoke about the staff in Class 1, and we're bringing them up again because they are the gatekeepers. The staff are important, and it's very important that you are respectful and treat them just as you would a legislator. Time is precious. Staff usually keep legislator schedules. There will be multiple fronts. They understand the legislature, the political dynamics, and the relationships, and even what could be transpiring behind the scenes. This is strategy, and they may be able to help you craft an even better strategy if you're willing to work with them in a respectful way. Most of them know their stuff. Many staff members have just as more information on the legislation as the member. With thousands of bills circulating during a short session, many legislators divide and conquer. Be sensitive. Take your cues on how a particular office operates and work with them. It will benefit you and the work you are doing. As again, saying, always be respectful, be polite. Polite people are much more fun to work with and get better results, usually. What is lobbying? A group of persons that promote something or secure passage of legislation to conduct activities aimed at influencing public officials, especially members of the legislative body of the legislature, to promote something such as a project or secure the passage of legislation by influencing public officials to influence or sway someone, such as a public official. And I gotta tell you, Christians can lobby. It's not a bad word. If you are a Christian, you should be engaged as citizen lobbyists. You don't have to pay. You can go down to Austin and not have to register if you're just doing it as an activist. Yes, if we want to drive anything as Christians, what we believe in to get passed into law, we need to be engaged. We are building relationships with the members that can make a lasting difference for righteousness. How to be effective when lobbying? Be prepared. This will benefit everyone involved. Be flexible. Appointments may be walking down the hallway. They may get canceled. They may be cut short. Schedule appointments. It's very helpful for the members if you really want to try to meet with them or their legislative director, that you schedule an appointment, and it will usually include the member and a couple of other of his staff. Follow protocol for that particular office. Be discerning and honor the representative's time. Follow up by email saying thank you and get any additional information that they may have requested. And then it's always good to send a thank you note, and it's good because it kind of puts you back in front of the legislator. Free advice. Again, be respectful, kind, thorough, and prepared. It will be a big plus for you and the legislator. You will always know what you've done, all you can do, and given no reason for the legislator or their staff to disregard you or your issue. Finding valid information. Let's go back to our favorite TLO, Texas Legislator Online. You can read the bill yourself. I can't encourage you enough on that. Use a variety of resources. Look to groups or individuals whose voices you respect. Legislative Reference Library, you can see that again comes off of the TLO. There's a Legiscan, Ballotopedia, Texas-based news sources such as the Texan, Texas Tribune, the Quorum Report. Reading dissenting opinions will help you prepare for championing your issue. This is not somewhere to spend a great bulk of your time, but knowing what the other person or the other side is thinking will help you strategize for your issue. Steps to picking a bill to testify for or against during session. Timing. Look for bills by returning legislators. They may be filed early in November prior to the upcoming legislative session. Other legislation may be filed up to the cutoff date, which is day 60 of the session. Bills to work on may come from many sources. An original idea from a legislator. A citizen such as yourself may come up with a bill. Model legislation from other states or jurisdictions. Working groups or issues. Checking TLO for particular bills pertaining to your issue. Studying up on the issue and writing could lead to a bill. Subject matter experts and advocacy groups have bill ideas that they need to work. Pray for strategy. God can lead you and where you spend your time. Some free advice. Be a good listener and reader. It's critical to information gathering. It's amazing how much information one can glean from a committee hearing, floor debate, advocacy groups, presentations, or newsletters. What is the purpose of the special session in Texas? A special session is convened to consider legislation that was not passed during the regular session or for a particular emergency. Key facts about special session. Must be called by the governor, may be any time for any reason, although the governor must state a purpose for the proclamation. They may only last 30 days. The governor does have the authority to call as many special sessions that he or she desires. With more than one special session, it is called by the governor. They do not have to run back to back, so they could be anywhere in the calendar year. Key facts about special session. Only legislation the governor delineates for the special session may be addressed and nothing else. More than one issue may be considered per the governor's request. Veto schedule still remains. It is the 10 days to veto or let a bill roll into law, as we spoke about in the first class. Okay, it's time to geek out on calendars and dates. The clock will run out, so this is important. The Texas legislative session runs on a particular schedule. In order to strategize for your bill, you will need to be able to follow that schedule. So let's get started. Session timeline, day 1. Opening day of the session, second Tuesday of January, period. Bills will be filed once session begins, but they do not get acted upon until 60 days in. Remember, returning legislators may pre-file bills, but those that need to, if you're a new legislator, you have to wait. Only emergency action will be dictated by the governor, can be worked in the first 60 days. Day 60, deadline for the unrestricted filing of all bills and joint resolutions, and day 60 of session, done. Now we're jumping all the way to day 119. Last day for the House committee to report House bills and House joint resolutions. Day 122, last day for the House to consider the second reading of the House bills, remember there has to be 3 readings, and House joint resolutions on daily or a supplemental calendar. Day 123, last day for the House to consider local and consent bills, second and third readings, and all third and final readings for House bills and House joint resolution. Day 135, last day for the House to consider Senate bills, Senate joint resolutions, local and consent, second and third reading, and all third readings of Senate bills and Senate joint resolutions. Last day for Senate to consider all bills. Day 137, we are almost to the end here. Before midnight, House copies of conference committee reports on the general appropriations bill, remember that comes out of the House, must be distributed, and last day for House to consider and act on Senate amendments. So we're getting down to the very end here. Before midnight, the Senate copies of the committee reports on tax general appropriation bills must be printed and distributed. Day 138 and before midnight, House copies of CCRs on the bills other than the general appropriation bill must be distributed. Remember, in the previous class, we discussed conference committees, and this is where they come into play, because we're down to the wire, and they're going to need to get all of this information back to the right houses. The Senate must also have all Senate CCRs for all bills other than the tax, general appropriations, etc., turned in before midnight. Do you feel the tension and excitement? I can tell. By day 139, this is the last day for the House to act on the CCRs, the last day for the Senate to concur on the House amendments or adopt CCRs. Day 140, it's done. Corrections only in both the House and the Senate. They gavel out, and it's the last day of Scene ADA. It is fun to follow a bill that starts as one bill and dies. It comes back as an amendment, it dies, then comes back as part of another amendment and passes. Yes, this has actually happened before, and it's a nerd out moment for me, but you can see why this entire process is so important. Remember, from our last class, we did discuss chubbing and other delay tactics. You will see this play out in full fashion toward the end of the session. You can see where tools, strategies, a good understanding of the rules, oh my goodness, and the calendar help for successful strategy. Chubbing, points of order, slow walking, they're all methods to run out the clock. What we do on the state level matters. There is a vital tension between the federal government and the state government. However, that tension in this balance of power is good for us. The laws that govern our state significantly influence some of the issues that we care about as believers, such as the sanctity of life, immigration, safety and borders, parental rights, education for our children, taxation, election integrity, and on and on. Under our U.S. Constitution and our Texas Constitution, both our nation and our state have been given the opportunity to steward well with regards to liberty and law. The question is, what will we do as citizens to engage with our rights and freedom? The Executive Department of the Texas State Government. Important jobs that come with much power. The Texas Attorney General. First established in 1836 by Executive Ordinance of the Republic of Texas Government. One of the officers constituting the Executive Department of Texas State Government. First few attorney generals were appointed, however, now they are elected Chief Legal Officer of the state of Texas. Protects state interests through judicial proceedings and legal advice. Has broad constitutional authority. Whenever the interests of Texas state government is involved in civil law, the Attorney General must represent and defend those interests. The state of Texas is represented by the Attorney General in courts of Texas. Office influences all Texas government agencies through its advisory opinion function, whereby the Attorney General provides specified officials with guidance on how to perform their duties legally. The role of the Attorney General broadly reflects a combination of law and politics in regular duties, combining administration with regulation and law enforcement, acting as both enforcer and defender. The head of consumer protection investigates and prosecutes criminal activities including human trafficking, election fraud, and internet crimes against children. They also collect child support. The requirements to run for the Attorney General: must be at least 18 years of age, must be a U.S. citizen, a resident of Texas for at least 1 year. This is a 4-year term, and it's not term limited. And very interesting, of the AGs we have had, there are only, since the beginning, 4 conservatives and 2 unionists. The rest were Democrat. Just thought that was interesting. The Texas State Comptroller, established in 1845 under the Provisional Government of Texas, serves as one of the officers constituting the Executive Department of Texas. And you're going to hear this over and over, and there are, some say 6, some say 7, this executive level of government. State Comptroller job description: serves as the Chief Financial Officer for Texas, the 9th largest economy in the world. Chief Tax Collector, collects fees and taxes owed the state. Treasurer, accountant, and revenue estimator. Agency responsible for writing the checks and keeping the books for the businesses of the Texas government, a multi-billion-dollar business. Pays agency bills and gives legislators outlook and direction for their budget strategy. Local businesses look to the Office for Economic Guidance and Analysis. Taxpayer compliance. Taxpayers depend on this office to be good stewards of their tax dollars, and also the state cashier handles all the cash. Chairs the Texas Treasury Safekeeping Trust that oversees over $50 billion of assets. State Purchasing Manager awards and manages statewide contracts. Provides services to the business owners, taxpayers, and local officials. This is in an effort to help cultivate a healthy economy. Administrator over a variety of programs such as Texas College Saving Fund. And the requirements to be the state comptroller: no particular requirements. 4-year term, elected position. Fun fact: Christian Engage President Bunny Pounds interviewed Texas Comptroller Glenn Hager for Conversations with Christians Engage podcast. Check it out on our YouTube or whenever you are listening to podcasts. You will learn a lot about his job and the challenges that we face in our state. Texas Land Commissioner, established in 1836, immediately after the Texas Revolution, and predates the governor and other state officials. One of the officers constituting the executive department of the Texas state government. There is no land commission in the state of Texas, just a land commissioner. The land commissioner's job description: manage all public domain of the state, collect and keep records and land titles, provide maps, surveys, issue titles. As you can see, this is an extensive list. There are also requirements for being a commissioner. And what's really interesting is it's 4 years, there's no legal, no age limit. And I think this, and there's, again, elected position for the land commissioner and not term limited. What's really interesting when researching this, the federal government would not take Texas land as payment. Texas, therefore, got to come into the union keeping its public land. Also, Texas is the only Gulf state that has its land and its rights out 10 miles into the Gulf of Mexico. Texas Railroad Commissioners, heads of the Railroad Commission of Texas. The history. The Railroad Commission of Texas is the oldest regulatory agency in the state and one of the oldest in the country. The Railroad Commission of Texas was established in 1891 to prevent discrimination in railroad charges. The commission ceased any railroad activities in 2005. There are 3 railroad commissioners in Texas, and one of them serves as chairman. Railroad commissioners. The commission's primary regulatory jurisdiction is over oil and natural gas industry, natural gas and hazard liquid pipeline industry, natural gas utilities, and the list goes on. Under federal law, the commission enforces the Safe Drinking Water Act, the Pipeline Safety Act, and the Clean Water Act. Who knew that was under the Railroad Commission? They are qualified to vote under the Constitution to be a member. They have to be at least 25 years of age, and they serve 6-year staggered terms. It's very interesting. And then they also are elected office and no term limits. I gotta tell you, when I started down this one with the Ag Commissioner, they have a lot of responsibilities. I think you'll be interested. This was established by the legislature in 1907. It promotes production of agriculture, protection of agricultural crops such as citron and cotton, and many, many other jobs. One of the things you will see in the grocery store is they set the weight and measures in the grocery store. They even have a hand in broadband out in the rural areas. The requirements to run for AG Commissioner, they have to have worked in the agriculture field for at least 5 years or 10 years preceding taking office. In the business of agriculture, for a state or federal agency that regulates agriculture, by owning a ranch or farm with an agricultural use appraisal, by being elected or appointed to the Texas Agricultural Council or another related agency. This one has much more regulations or requirements than any job we've seen so far. It's a 4-year term, it's an elected office, and it's not term limited. And fun fact, did you know there is a Texas State Hay Hotline? It helps the ag producers locate forage and hay supplies for sale. Secretary of State, history. In 1836, after Texas had won their independence, the first Secretary of State was appointed. Stephen F. Austin was the first Secretary of State appointed by Sam Houston, the newly elected President of the Republic of Texas. The Secretary of State's job description: Chief Election Officer, ensures uniform application and interpretation of election law. You can look down this list. They actually also serve as Chief International Protocol Officer of Texas. They witness the signing of the governor on bills. Requirements to be the Secretary of State: no basic requirement to serve. This position is appointed by the governor of Texas. And the executive member board we keep talking about, it's the only person on that board that was not elected. The Texas State Board of Education. This elected executive agency of the Texas state government. The Texas State Board of Education came into existence in 1949 with the passage of the Gilmer-Aiken Law dealing with the appropriations of state funds, which reorganized administration of the public schools and handed it to the elected SBOE, or State Board. There are 15 seats representing 15 educational districts. These districts will be redrawn with the census. The chair of the SBOE is selected by the governor. They may not hold office if serving on the SBOE. Requirements to run for the SBOE: registered voter in their district, at least 26 years of age, district resident for 1 year, no lobby or conflict of interest. A quick walk through several other state level officials. Texas Commissioner of Education. Stated duties to provide leadership to the schools, state education agencies, in coordination with the state legislature and other branches of the state government, as well with the U.S. Department of Education. Texas Insurance Commissioner. Regulates businesses of insurance, protects and insures for treatment of consumers, ensures fair competition. Texas State Auditor. Selected by the Legislative Audit Committee to conduct independent audits, investigations, and reviews of entities receiving state funds, including state agencies, departments, and universities. The Texas Workforce Commission. Develop the workforce, provide support and services, and unemployment benefit programs. And the last one, the Texas Public Utilities Commission. In charge of regulating electric and telecommunications utilities in Texas. The PUC's stated mission is to protect customers, foster competition, and promote high-quality infrastructure. Jobs in Texas government. They are important, and the more people of integrity that we elect to hold these offices, the better it is for the state of Texas. Let's pay attention to what they are doing and get involved. Key TexLeg websites: Maine Texas Legislature, Texas Senate, Texas House of Representatives, Office of the Texas Governor, and Office of the Texas Lieutenant Governor. Thank you again for joining us, and we really do appreciate your time. I know there was a lot of material, but I think it'll be worth your while to dig in a little deeper And we also want to tell you to go look for us on christiansengaged.org. Thank you.